Hello everybody that's watching, which is probably one guy in his basement. You know who you are. This is going to be the first development update of an RTS game that I'm working on. It's quite early in development in that I only have some placeholder art and a rough idea of where the project may lead to, and base functionality of the Unreal project. Obviously I'm making it in Unreal Engine 4, just purely because it's an engine that I'm familiar with, and I'm not quite good enough at programming in languages such as C# to effectively use an engine such as Unity. And engines like CryEngine or Lumberyard just no. On so many levels, just no. So it's going to be a very quick overview of what I have so far, and like I say, where the project may head to. So if I run the game in in a new editor window, I have a very basic UI. Obviously, this big white square on the bottom left is where the map is eventually going to be. Still need to figure out how to do that and what sort of things I'll need in order to do that. Currently there are 3 buildings that you can build: a low resource building, a high resource building, and an infantry building. The low resource building will build as such, and then that'll generate more income every, I think it's 2 seconds that I've got it updating the income. And then obviously a high resource building, bit bigger, takes a fair bit longer to build, but obviously generates a heck of a lot more income per second, or 2 seconds, however long it is. Then on top of that we have the infantry building, which all of these models have been done by me, which is why they're so utterly terrible. Then when you have built the infantry building, you can build a unit and it will come up with this wonderfully basic production bar, which will obviously eventually build a unit. There's still a lot to work on the UI, such as the cost per unit, and when the unit is created it will appear over here, and then yep, there you go, there's a bug. Currently it doesn't like having the created unit selected in order to move, whereas the one that's already placed in the world, that can already move. So I have a basic AI system working for that, and they will avoid buildings and run around them. So if I do a more, yeah, there you go. So it'll run around buildings and stuff like that. Then I've got this one, which is going to be a tank, and this has a pretty much the same AI system working. I currently don't have any proper attacking functionality. I have a little bit in that if I click on the building will eventually start to lose health, and when that eventually gets to 0, but there's the thing, you can click it multiple times and do more damage, and then they'll move to it. So still quite a few issues that need working on. And obviously when you deselect the unit, it deselects it, and then will not move again until it's reselected. So the main premise for this little RTS game is basically going to be primitive civilization versus advanced civilization. So imagine hyper advanced civilization has crash landed on a planet. They have very limited resources, and on the planet there are some, a native population or indigenous population that are nowhere near as advanced but have much greater numbers. So it's going to be the classic, which one's better, a low quality of good units or a large quality of bad units. And that's going to be the main premise. I think for the time being it's just going to be a skirmish based RTS. So there won't necessarily be some big grand campaign, or it won't have some big galactic battle going on in the background, any background simulations. It will just be a case of you load up a battle, you fight that battle, you win or lose that battle, and that's it, that's the end, with sort of a background lore to begin with. Obviously that could change depending on where the project goes, but there's still a long way to go before I get anywhere near that. What else? Obviously there's a lot of artwork that needs to be done as well. I need to learn a little bit of C++ for this project, as currently serialization is not supported by blueprints alone, which serialization, for those of you that don't know, is where it gets all of the information from everything in the game that's currently loaded and writes that to a file. You can then load that file back up and convert all of the necessary data back into blueprints, and that's essentially a save system. There are other ways to do save systems, but on a game such as this, where there's lots of different units being created or lots of different assets rather being created and destroyed throughout the course of the game, it'll be difficult to locate everything that needs to be saved and save it. Things like your resources and what units are available, that is all fairly easy to save via blueprint, but things like the specific location, rotation, health, all that type of stuff, and the specific variables of the units and the buildings, that will be much more difficult to do via blueprint. So I think it's just going to be a bit easier to suck it up and learn the necessary C++ to integrate the serialization via programming in order to achieve that. And yeah, I think that's just about it. So I don't know when or how often I'll be posting these development updates. I don't tend to work on this that often, but I might start working on it a little bit more regularly if this video has any amount of views whatsoever. Alright, thank you very much, guys.